Good afternoon, everybody. It's Michael Davis from Roxhill here, and thank you very much for joining us this Wednesday lunchtime for what I hope is going to be the last of our lockdown briefings with one of the leading business editors of Fleet Street. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined today by Ruth Sunderland, who you all know as business editor of the Mail. Welcome, Ruth.
Hello, thank you very much for having me. Thank you for clocking in, everybody.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure there are you've got a wood-panelled office in Derry Street, but you're not in Derry Street, are you?
I'm not in Derry Street, so you can probably see my handbag and my various half marathon medals, my proudest possessions. It's the wardrobe in the attic room, so I'm a bit like everybody else. I'm doing it from home. It's been quite a challenge, really, so we've been getting the city section out, and in fact the whole paper for a long period entirely remotely. All of my team are working from their bedrooms and kitchens and so on. I have to say, the first week or so I was pretty terrified. Was this gonna work? Was the tech gonna hold up? Thanks to our brilliant tech people, it's all gone actually amazingly smoothly so far. Touch wood.
Well, no, I must admit, I said it to a few of your peers in the market, but I think it's phenomenal how the newspapers have responded and kept such quality products hitting the stands every day. Has it been a struggle at all? What have you had to change to make it work?
So it hasn't been a struggle, really. I think we've been all too frantically busy to think of it as being a struggle. And also, I very much went into this with the attitude that I didn't just want to get a paper out and tread water. We very much felt we wanted to make a really positive contribution to the COVID effort and to keeping the momentum of the paper. So we didn't just want to firefight, as it were. And I think, I hope we've really done that as a paper and as a section. The £10 million that we've raised for PPE through Mailforce, for example, through that campaign. I was extremely pleased to get the first newspaper interview with Andrew Bailey, the new governor of the Bank of England, which, when you think about it, normally they do go to the FT or wherever. And so I did feel that was a real coup to get that for the Mail, which, people might not think was a natural home for the governor's first interview. We're doing our own city campaigns as well. Most recently today, you'll have probably seen about paying back furlough cash for firms that can afford it, which we strongly feel people should do, and a number of others. So it hasn't really been a struggle, but really haven't had time to think. It is quite exhausting, quite full on.
Let's talk nuts and bolts very quickly. How's the day in the life of Ruth Sunderland look now to what it did perhaps 6 months ago?
Well, it's a virtual version of what my day was like before, and that was a very conscious decision to try and recreate that so that the team knew where they were. So I have a morning city conference at 10:15 with me, Hugo Duncan, Alex Brummer. Hugo does our news editing. Alex, as everybody knows, writes the column, where we decide what's going in the paper, what we think are the important city issues. Then that's followed at 11 o'clock by main news conference, where I present that to the other department heads and to the editor, Geordie Gregg. And I then go into leader conference, where, as it suggests, that's some of the, I don't know, I hesitate to say it sounds immodest, the kind of leading thinkers of the paper, the brain boxes go, and then we decide what we're covering in the leader. So today I was holding forth about job losses and about childhood, so I don't just stay to city topics in that necessarily. And then in the afternoon we have a 3:15 city conference, where again we just go over what the running order is, what we think our lead is going to be, and then later on in the evening, so my day starts, probably I start reading the papers and so on about 8 o'clock in the morning. then a bit later on, sort of 7:30 through 8 o'clock at night, I'm liaising with the subs and the backbench, just making sure that our pages are, looking right, the headlines look good, the visuals, the photographs and the graphics and everything are all working, and that any late breaking stories are dealt with. So, I mean, it does actually pretty much replicate, as I said, what would be a day in the office. Somehow I seem to be working just as hard, even though I've obviously cut out travelling. I'm not quite sure how that has happened, but it has.